Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Career Culture. Welcome if you're new here. My special guest as part of the Insight series today is Jonathan. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure.
So today we will be talking about how he managed to secure a spring week, convert that into a summer internship, and then secure a graduate offer at the end of it. You transition from your spring week to your summer. Of course you had to like secure that. Not everybody just gets given a summer off the back of a spring week. So what was that like?
Okay. So how did I go from a spring week to a summer? Actually, I do remember my spring week. Actually, yeah. So my spring week on the last day, it's such a long time ago. I'll be so honest. Like in my spring week, we had on the third day we had to do a presentation, a group task, where we more or less, I think we had to like convince a panel or something to invest in our idea, something like that. And I just literally made sure I was active from the start. All right, cool guys, I think we need to do this, leadership, communication, teamwork, ready in the bag. Ready in the bag. And then I made sure I was placed in a good point in the presentation with something substantial to say, not too much, not too little. And then also, when it came to the questions, I wasn't quiet. I answered questions as well. When I stood forward, I projected my voice, and I came across as confident, bold, head up, just literally things like that. Things that you wouldn't, like things that you wouldn't necessarily think about, but just giving extra thought to those things is what allows someone to catch your eye, and that's essentially what it's about when it comes to getting a job in finance. Usually, it's about making a good impression, making yourself be seen, and yeah.
Okay, so what was your summer like?
Yeah, so you mean the whole summer internship?
Yeah. That
was a bit more intimidating because you are actually doing work, you actually have a line manager, you have a buddy, you have a team. Whereas the spring week is just, you're with the other spring week people. You have the other spring week people. Summer internship, first days is like just training and settling in. The first week is, the second week is where you get to go to your team. So I was assigned to my line manager and buddy in the morning, but then within the next hours, like they come and pick you up from like this big meeting room. And that was just like, who am I gonna get? If actually didn't like me, imagine if I don't like them, imagine we didn't get along. That's what's rushing through your head. And then you meet them, you're just like, oh, that's cool. So the one thing you have to remember is that who you work for, your company that you work for, usually the employees will reflect that sort of thing. So if you work for a good company, I'm pretty sure you'll have some good people in your team, and luckily I did. So yeah, so literally found my buddy, spoke to him, gave me like the ground running on what's going to be happening, met my line manager, met the team, very friendly from the onset. And then time went on, they told me about what was expected from me. I found everything I needed to know to sort of exceed, really, how to communicate, how to do like the basic things like sending emails and stuff, find out my expectations, and then set my own expectations as well. So for example, start work at 9, most of the teams in about 8:45. I just made the effort to be in before 8:30. That's just like, that's an example. Not taking too long in your lunch breaks. I mean, you can take a full hour sometimes. If I knew I had a busy day, I'll definitely cut it down. Just show a bit of selflessness here and there. Always communicating, literally just speak up whenever, no matter how silly you feel like the question is, just ask. Even if you weren't listening for a few minutes in a meeting, just ask. It's better than not knowing and then being caught up on it later on. So I just felt like I was always asking questions. I wasn't asking pointless questions, and I think that's what they liked at the same time. As much as I was asking questions, it was questions with substance. But I mean, the actual day-to-day was fine. As it got close to the end, where we had a main project for the whole internship. We had a few side projects, which is like your daily tasks, your business as usual tasks. Then you also had, they had an end of your presentation, which was you basically saying how your whole internship was. So in the last few weeks is where you're working towards that. On your last week or second to last week, I think, is when the presentation is. Then a few days after that is when you find out if you got the, if you got the, yeah. But as you can see, yeah, I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Word on the street is you had this graduate role secured, locked in and ready to sign a few weeks in to your summer internship.
I think I was ready to decide.
I mean, that's what the street said.
Who's your source? I don't listen to any of that. I was on my toes until the very last minute, more or less. So how did I know? I spoke to grads from the cohort above, find out how it was for them. I mean, how did they get their grad? What did they do in their summer internship that stood out? And just more or less got like an idea for where I could see patterns and where I could see things that I could pick up. Spoke to a line manager, made sure I knew what was expected of me. Then spoke to her line manager and their line manager. So I went all the way to like I think I even went to the MD or just ED. Yeah, I went to ED level and made sure they knew who I was, that I was in the team. I'll be there for XX and so time, doing XYZ. Yeah, and then set up literally coffee corners, but
that's a big thing, isn't it? Going for a coffee.
Yeah, just literally setting up time and meeting. Yeah, have a conversation. You didn't even have to get coffee, but actually just a bit to make it personable. Really, actually get to know you
as a human.
Definitely. They don't want to just speak to robots. That's boring. He wants to do that. So yeah, just make it personable, because making it personable is how you make it unique and allow them to actually know you for you.
Did you have to slave away?
Did I have to slave away?
How was your work-life balance?
So as it got towards the last few weeks, where my presentation and projects were like coming to the delivery date, yeah, I just worked a few extra hours. Really, I mean, you have to do that on a normal day, and yeah, because you start to maintain your daily tasks on top of doing your project and work on your presentation. Didn't really kill me.
From internship, and you presented your project. How did you know? When did you find out that you got the grad role?
I was in my presentation, came to my time, and I've had that, that adrenaline rush before, and I was just like, let's go in. So I've gone in, I've started my presentation, speaking through things. They started asking questions, which is good because it shows that they're listening. I've answered, and I've even started giving examples of things I've done. They're just like, wow, like, really? And
oh my god! Wow! Oh my god!
And I mean, that was like the first side. I was like, okay, cool, that's good. I finished within the time, and at the end, I was getting good questions from everyone, every corner. As I was leaving, so somebody asked for me to show one of their employees or someone in their team or something, and that's when I was like, yeah, I must have smashed it.
Get your numbers up. I had to get my numbers up.
Yeah, sounds like you did.
Yeah. And then when I went back and I was speaking to like my line manager, a few other line managers, they can't say anything, they can't really give, but you can get around, like,
so you felt a bit at ease.
Yeah, it was positive. So yeah, go on.
So how did you tackle the interview with no experience at all? Was it intimidating? How did you feel?
I had interview experience, obviously. I worked in like part-time jobs, retail jobs before, so I was used to like the interview sort of like environment, but obviously specifically a bank. Made sure I knew as much as I did about the company. So I researched my company, their policies, their values, what they stood for. I was lucky able to resonate with a lot of them because, I mean, yeah, I just felt like I could see some of their behaviours and things like in me and my actions. So that was quite straightforward to explain and to link to my answers in the interview. And I think that's one thing that I did. I made sure I was joining the two and that I was making that very clear to them. So this is what you stand for, this is who I am, this is how I link together.
How do you make your application stand out, especially in your spring week, having no experience?
I think back to it, just literally the general advice you'd get with most applications: submit it early, make sure it's clear, concise, in certain areas, and obviously where you need to go into detail, go into detail. I didn't have any industry experience at the time, so I focused it more on the extracurricular activities that I'd done.
What were one of those?
One of those, like senior prefect in the school, and at the time I think I was applying for ACS, or I just got an ACS somewhere, something like that.
ACS what?
Sorry, African and Caribbean Society at my university. President. Just stuff like that really. If you haven't got anything like that, literally get creative. is what I would say. Think outside the box. Yeah, honestly, think outside the box. Any volunteering or things that literally just show a bit about you and the things you like to get involved in, show your proactiveness, your leadership, teamwork, etc, etc, your willingness to learn, just anything that portrays that, put onto your CV or put onto your application. Yeah.
What made you choose operations?
I think at the time I wanted a way to get my foot in the door, and I didn't have much industry experience at the time. I didn't really know much about the industry per se. I just knew I wanted to work in finance, or used to be interested in economic. Yeah, it just seemed like the right fit. And operations just literally seemed like an area where I get to learn a lot about everything at the same time, because operations more or less exists everywhere in the bank. It's back office, middle office, more or less, and IB, AMO, asset management operations, wealth management, and shared services, which is more or less data. Yeah, it just had a lot of depth to it, and I wanted to know more, and yeah, good way to get a foot in the door. Yeah.
That's really interesting. Say operations is everywhere in the bank, right? It's basically the core of the bank. When you done your spring week, did you get to experience all aspects or just a general view?
It's just a general view. Spring week is literally an insight week. My bank actually advertised it as an insight week, spring insight week, so it was pretty much obvious to you. I'm not sure about other companies and how their spring weeks run as to how much exposure you get to the actual work, but because it's such a short period, and obviously because of compliance and things like that, they can't obviously expose you to too much. So what they try to do is tell you about it without showing you necessarily ways that they're working on. Just because there's a lot of like rules and regulations and stuff as well, you have to remember, because it's a bank.
What are you finding your graduate role so far?
It's good. I'm in a good team. They allow me to develop. They allow me to get into some new things, learn some new skills, new softwares, which is great. Put me out of my comfort zone at first, but you know, it's good. Get used to it. Yeah, friendly team. I mean, that's how it is across my whole bank, to be honest. It's just like positive people that want to see you develop. Yeah, good vibes. Yeah. It's going good. There's nothing to complain about. Obviously, some grads are different, where you might have some exams and stuff. Mine offers the ability for you to complete a certification, which I'm currently doing. Obviously, it's a bit time constraining to do whilst working, but you know, make it work.
You don't complain. You just
don't
get
complain.
it done.
You don't complain. You work, you get a paycheck.
Hey, we going. What a money resign. What a money resign. What a money resign. What a money resign.
No, I'm joking, but yeah, you get on with it.
What's one pro and one con of your graduate role?
Pro is that you get the ability to rotate, so you're not just stuck in one business area for the whole 2 years, 18 months, depends on how long yours is. Mine's 2 years, so I can go to different business areas, which allows me to learn more about ops, which was my goal at the end of the day. It allows you to network as well, so that when it comes to the end of your grad and you're finding somewhere to move into, you've networked a bit, you've had a bit of experience and exposure, so you're a bit more informed as to what you want to do. A con is that there's only, obviously because there's only 3 rotations, you can't rotate around everywhere within operations. But yeah, that's a pro and a con.
Thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your wisdom with us.
Pleasure.
Much appreciated. So guys, that's a wrap. Thank you for tuning in, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.